development session this morning. And thank you to our wonderful panelists for joining us. And everyone is in for a treat today to learn more about their businesses and their expertise in child development and, of course, their respective profession. Today, a part of our panel is Laura Raybourne, the owner of Foliage and Laura's Productions. Thank you, Laura, so much for joining us. We have Ashley Love, the owner of Love Occupational Therapy Services, LLC. So thank you so much, Ashley, for being with us today. And also Ann Ogle, which she is the Child Youth Services Administrator for Fort Bliss, Texas. So thank you, ladies, for being with us today. Like I mentioned, my name is Mary Helen Aldiz, and I'm the Program Director for the Women's Business Border Center. And at this time, I just wanted to share with you and our viewers today a little bit more about our program and the services offered through the El Paso Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Our Hispanic Chamber is celebrating our 30th year celebration. We have been here servicing our small minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses in our community for 30 years, and we're really happy to support the growth of our business community. Our Women's Business Border Center, one of our biggest highlights for this year is that we are celebrating our 20th year in assisting our local entrepreneurs in starting and growing their businesses. So we're real happy that we're a part of their entrepreneurial dream. And our main mission here at the Hispanic Chamber is really to support the growth of our small minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses. That is the track that we follow, and everything that we can do to support the growth, support their business, and to scale, that's really our main mission and our main focus here at the El Paso Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And for our Women's Business Border Center, we're here to provide anyone, regardless of their gender, their race, their ethnicity, to support their entrepreneurial dream, regardless of their financial, business, or educational background. So we've been here co-located and cooperated with the El Paso Hispanic Chamber for 20 years. Please share this information with anyone that you might know in the community that has that itch to start their business, and maybe they're in business. Right now, we do have some other business development specialists here on site at the Hispanic Chamber that can help you if you are struggling with your business that is going through the pandemic right now. So please feel free to reach out to us. Everything is private and confidential, and we'll be happy to assist you. Like I mentioned, we're celebrating our 20th year in operation. We are a funded program through the Small Business Administration. Our Small Business Administration is one of our smallest federal agencies in our federal government, and we're one of 118 centers that are located throughout the country that focuses on supporting businesses. But our main focus is to target women and for them to be showcased through our program like today's forum, and for them to share their entrepreneurial dream with our audience, and so they can share their expertise and what they've learned and what kind of guidance that they can share with our viewers today. Just know that we are a third-party certifier for the Federal Women-Owned Small Business Contracting Program, and this is where we can service any women business owner throughout the country of the United States. So if you know of any women business owner that would like to supply to our federal government, please feel free to reach out to us. Our center and our team here that works in providing services to our entrepreneurs, we have been recognized twice regionally for our efforts in supporting our businesses here in our community. And I'd just like to add, because of the work of our team here on site at the Chamber, we have been recognized and competed among 6 states and 20 different women business centers. So thank you to the team and their dedication to our women businesses and also our business community. So before we get started, I would like to, in the spirit of giving, it is December, and thank you to Laura for providing us some special giveaways today for our attendees. So I'll turn it over to Laura so she could start off with a nice fun giveaway. Laura?
Yes, our first giveaway this morning, just to kick it off with hopefully something that you would definitely enjoy for a whole year. It is 24 classes, 48 hours, courtesy of Laura's Production. It is a $400 value. And of course, we take all ages, all sizes, and all looks. And you can learn poise, posture, etiquette, hair and makeup classes, runway classes, whatever your heart desires, courtesy of Laura's production. So let's see who's going to win. Here we go. I love that wheel, by the way. So cool.
Yay, Kim, you are a lucky winner. Kim, we'll go ahead and connect with you, and we'll go ahead and get you your prize. So congratulations, and thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and get started to introduce our speakers. And I'll first start with Ashley Love. Ashley, like I mentioned, she's a practicing occupational therapist of Lug Occupational Therapy Services, located on Shraywood in the east side of El Paso. She has received her bachelor's in anthropology from the University of Oklahoma. She's a practicing occupational therapist, a business owner, an educator, and an advocate, and a new mom. Congratulations, Ashley, for being a new mom. How sweet. She relocated to El Paso with her family and made the investment in starting her therapy services clinic business here in El Paso. And thank you for making El Paso your home. And currently she has 10 employees, including interns from the occupational therapy program from UTEP. She went from having 10 clients to now seeing over 150 clients, and her clients range from children with special needs, military children, and adults experiencing change throughout accidents. So welcome, Ashley, and thank you for being part of our session today.
Having me.
Thank you. And letting you know a little bit more about Laura. Laura, she's the owner of Foliage Day Spa that is located on Mesa Hills on the west side of El Paso, and is the owner of Laura's Productions. She was born in Beirut, Lebanon, and came to El Paso at a very young age and made this beautiful city her permanent home. So thank you for that too, Laura, for making your investment here and staying here in El Paso with us. 24 years ago, she opened Laura's Production, where she focuses on modeling, talent, promotion, and pageants. And then Foliage Day Spa closely followed after that. Laura prides herself in employing 20 employees and offers a salon spa Aveda experience with excellence and pride. Laura continues to promote beauty and health. Being confidently beautiful is her motto. Laura prides herself to always making a difference in young men and women in the El Paso area. So thank you so much, Laura, for being with us and sharing your story and business too.
Thank you for having me.
And to let you know a little bit more about our last speaker, which is Ann Ogle. She's the Child Youth Services Administrator with MWR here on Fort Bliss, Texas. She's a university instructor and an assistant academic director at Park University. She has over 30 years experience in child development, and her education is in psychology and education, and has many fields and expertise in the areas of resilience and building strong relationships. So thank you so much, Anne, for being with us today and sharing your expertise.
My pleasure.
So with that, I wanted to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And I wanted for us to start with our two entrepreneurs on the panel. I would like for us to learn a little bit more about your entrepreneurial journey so you could share with our viewers today. And so we'll go ahead and get started with Ashley and Laura. So Laura, would you mind sharing, could you share with our viewers how and why you started your business?
Yes, you know what? This is a funny story. I came to El Paso when I was 12 years old, and my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she died at a very young age. So pretty much I had to leave the house and then be able to live on my own and then go ahead and get started. I was close to 18 years old. And that's what I wanted to do, is to be able to own my own business. So I started working at the mall. I was working at a clothing store, and one thing led to the other, and I became a district manager. I ran 15 stores, was going to college, and then also several people have been approached me to do a lot of different promotions and appearances. So I'm the type of person that doesn't like to do one job. I know I get kind of bored easily. So I wanted to be creative and do seven, but I kind of got hit with to having to be able to have the opportunity to do every single job 100%. So the stores were kind of struggling in the mall. And so I would take my employees and said, you know what, let's play some loud music and get in the window and start attracting attention, doing modeling, still modeling. And, I got in trouble from the mall quite a bit. Shauna can tell you that at Sila Vista Mall. But then, we attracted a lot of people and people would come in and buy a lot of clothing. So one thing led to the other. And I started doing fashion shows and I started doing, working with young ladies and men and children as well, and started teaching on poise, posture, and runway, and being able to hair and makeup, how to, get ready for an interview. So I felt like, this is something I could grow into my own business. I had the ability to have that security, to have that job to where I'm getting a paycheck on a weekly basis, but I still kept the modeling on the side and I was doing that as well. And then I was given the opportunity several years later. I walked into the salon that I'm in right now, with 1,500 square feet, and they were going to shut down overnight. I was doing some kind of marketing for them, and I didn't want these employees to be left without a job. So what I did is I wrote a check. It was a very small check. I know people think that I spent a lot of money on the salon, but it was luck. It was all pure luck. So what I did, the salon's name was Collage, and I wanted to change 2 letters because that's all I wanted to pay for. And it was a different color on every letter. And I changed it to foliage because, Aveda is made out of plants. And I asked every employee to bring a piece of furniture. I bought the inventory that was in there. I opened the salon January 1st, 20 years this year. It will be 20 years for foliage. And then we expanded after several years. I took the next area, which is now it's 4,100 square feet. So we have a salon and spa, and 21 employees are working with us now. And it just, one thing just led to the other. And then of course, my business at the mall went under. So I had to kind of decide what I wanted to do. So I felt, let's just take on large production full time and go, one thing led to the other. Took over pageants, took over the modeling, took over promotions, started doing a lot of galas and events, event planning. And the salon, I don't know how to do hair and makeup. I'm not a stylist. I don't have a license. I'm just an owner, but learned so much in the 20 years and still learning. And now I've owned both businesses for over 24 years.
Wow. Well, congratulations to you, Laura, for celebrating your 20th year in business as well. And Ashley, would you mind sharing what were the main factors of why you started your business? Share your story with our viewers today.
Sure. So I graduated from UTEP, the Master of Occupational Therapy program, in 2013, and worked in the field, worked in pediatrics and loved it. And learned a lot. I started with a company, and unfortunately the company decided to close. And I had about 10 kids that I saw who they said, we have no occupational therapy now and we want to stay with you. So where are you going? And I got a chance to go ahead and start. My husband and I have always been interested in business, and we had this opportunity come to us. So we saw kids for free. We worked in one room. This was in 2017. So we're coming up on our 4th year anniversary, and we started that way, and we've been going from then. And little by little, we've had little successes that have equaled up to more and more. So we got on with one of the most exciting and the biggest things was we were able to get on with El Paso Health insurance plans. So they started to reimburse us for our services, and then the TRICARE is the military insurance, and so we got on with them, and that was a big change for us. And so just little by little, we've grown from there. Now we're in a facility downstairs where we have 6 rooms, and we've just acquired the unit next door where we're building a huge gym. We are going to focus on some sensory stuff and some more exercise. We do a lot of cooking and other activities like that. So we've just grown and grown. And that's how it started, though, was really the closure of one business gave me an opportunity to start this one.
That is so awesome to hear, Ashley, and congratulations on your fourth year in business as well. And I know it's a very big accomplishment in getting registered with those insurance providers because it's not easy, right? It is not easy. So, and especially with our military installations. So, congratulations to you. That's really awesome. So, if you wouldn't mind, Ashley, if you would want to answer our next question that we have for you, what would you recommend to our viewers that are possibly interested in starting a business of their own? And maybe they're in the same situation that you were 4 years ago. Maybe, they have been let go because of the pandemic or other situations. What would you recommend to them at this time?
So one of the most important things that we have found is your vision. What is it that you want? Because you're the entrepreneur, you're the one who has to really hold true to that, because it's not going to be fast, it's not going to be easy, it's going to be a lot of underground building for the majority of it, not very glamorous. It's a lot of putting things together and a lot of a lot of rejection at the beginning, but it's those little yeses that equal up to something bigger. And so you have to hold true to your vision of what you see. There's a verse in the Bible that says the people perish for lack of vision. And so you have to be the one that holds on to it. No one else can do it for you. No one else can see it the way that you do. I believe in worrying is seeing the negative, but visualizing what you want it to be, seeing that every day. And in occupational therapy, we talk a lot about self-talk, that dialogue that runs in your head and how you tell yourself. If you're telling yourself this is going to fail, I'm not going to be good at this, I don't have enough, probably that's what you will have. But if you believe in it and you are just determined, you just have a determination that you're going to hold on to this and you're going to see it through, you'll see success, but it just may not be fast. But you have to continue with that. So just telling yourself on a daily basis, I can do it. I really can do it. And seeing those little things as in taking that as your encouragement.
Ashley, I love that because I am a true believer in that. I mean, you might think you sound crazy or whatever, but it's so true. And you can't put those thoughts in your mind because it will definitely, yes, I totally agree with you all the way.
I think it has to be, I'm sorry to interrupt. It has to be something you believe also. You can't say, if the thought that you have is the negative one, I'm going to fail, you can't then tell yourself I'm going to succeed. You have to use something you believe. So I'm good at what I do. I love doing this. I'm helping people. And those are the things that are going to buoy you up and push you through to hold on when it seems a little bleak.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Ashley. And Laura, what about you? What kind of advice would you give to someone that's wanting to start a business and what you've learned along the way in business?
Well, never give up. That's one. Also, don't be afraid to make mistakes. I always wanted to feel that everything's so perfect. And if it wasn't perfect, then I wasn't succeeding. And that's a hard thing to have to live by, because I never used to sleep. I was working 14, 15-hour days. And I always wanted to make sure that I never made a mistake. When 50 people like what you do, but 2 people criticized you, I felt like it was tough to take, because you felt like a failure. And I needed to learn, I needed to learn to not let people take me down. I needed to learn that I do have quite a bit of people that believe in me and what I do and the business that I'm offering. So I wanted to go stay positive instead of being negative all the time. And that's what I tell everyone. Put a plan together, put a budget together. Granted, you have a few $1,000s or you have a lot of money. You have to put a plan together and make sure that it's a 5-year plan, because it is not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in 6 months. You have to decide for yourself what your aim is, what your passion is, and then, of course, take it from there. And you have to have the confidence in what you do, because if you constantly take a guess at your job, then you're never going to make it. And you know what? Again, making mistakes makes you a very strong person, because you learn from those mistakes and then you better yourself in the long run. And of course, a lot of people's help. I have I used to call quite a bit of people that have been, and we talk about the mentorship, and ask them a lot of questions. How did you do this? What did you do? Research, educate yourself, constantly be able to ask different people. And then, women support women because, I believe that no matter what color your skin is or where you're from, no one should ever judge anyone. And, as a woman, it was hard 24 years because 24 years ago, coming from Lebanon, being in the schools, at 12 years old, I was bullied quite a bit. And a lot of people, were very prejudiced because I was from Beirut, Lebanon. But I had to fight that and then be able to state, I am a strong woman. I am an entrepreneur. And that's what I tell every woman, to believe in herself and just go for it. Don't ever second guess yourself. And if you fail, pick up yourself and say, nobody is ever going to stop me. And that's all I can say to someone.
Thank you so much for sharing that too, Laura. And it's sometimes really hard and difficult to go ahead and get back up and restart, but you definitely have to push yourself to do that. And with, of course, a very difficult year that everyone has faced in 2020, what are your business plans for 2021?
Forget about 2020. That's one thing.
Ain't that
I
the
definitely,
truth?
yes, I want to forget about it completely. You know what? But I've got to tell you, throughout the epidemic, when I shut down March 13, both businesses, and I had to cancel 17 events just for Laura's production alone, and 9 weeks of shutdown on foliage, I really got to learn how to actually sit down and not leave the house, because that's never happened before to me. And I kind of had a very hard time dealing with that. And I would call my family. I felt very alone, and I'm sure a lot of people did too. And I felt that I was useless and I wasn't making a difference anymore. So I had to kind of regroup to myself and say, let's just learn how to move on. Let's go with the positive. What is positive about 2020? I've gotten to really reconnect with some really good friends, some business entrepreneurs that I haven't spoken to in a long time. You kind of get to see who are your true friends or not, I think, throughout the epidemic, because they actually answered your phone call or talked to you or pepped you up and told you to stay strong and fight this. And then also, I wanted to question being a business owner, because that's very hard for us to take the responsibility of bringing, employees in when COVID is taking place. So I think you just need to move on. And then 2021, let me tell you, the COVID is not going to go away in 2021. I know we're all saying December 31st, January 1st, it's going to go away. It is not going to go away. We just have to learn how to deal with it and then reinvent our business, whatever our business is, reinvent what we want to do for 2021. And that's what I put a plan already. I have a plan for both businesses. I have deadlines, I have dates, I have events planned. And then if it happens, it's going to happen. If it doesn't, then I'm going to have to reroute again. And that's what I tell everybody. Take 2021, don't think it's going to go away, and then just reposition whatever your business is, reposition it, and then try to figure out what is the positive out of it, and then just move on.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. And Ashley, what are your plans for 2021?
We have a lot of exciting stuff that has kind of been seeded in 2020 and we'll see kind of come to fruition in 21. So we, like I mentioned before, we have a gym that we're building out. So we'll have more space. We have started a speech therapy program. So we hope to see that grow and expand in this year. We have also started doing some virtual reality for children on the autism spectrum to practice some social skills there. And hopefully we work on pediatric feeding, food aversions and stuff. So maybe some more things with that as well. And just growth. We just want to grow. So actually, kids are sick of looking at the computer. So we offer teletherapy and we want that to expand. But a lot of people want to come to the clinic because they're ready to move and use those muscles. So we want to see more of that as well.
Awesome. And I would like to ask, Ashley, who were your key mentors that supported you in your life, and who would you say they are?
I think my number one is my husband. He is an excellent student. He's a professor at UTEP, and he believes in me. And he's pushed me to do school to go to grad school to start the business, and he's been in the background, just that steady heartbeat that has been my supporter. So he's my number one mentor. He's who I go to first and say, hey, this happened, what's your opinion? And he's an engineer, but he's a man and he thinks different than I do, and he has like, he can get to the core and say, I think it's this and this, and I've got all these other ideas, but he can hone in on things in a different way. So definitely he's my number one.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. That is so sweet. Laura, Laura, and who is your key mentor or your key
I've been
mentors?
lucky enough to have several in El Paso that have actually given me the opportunity to start some kind of a business. But the first person is my mother. Like I said, she died of, she suffered for 10 years with breast cancer and then died. And it broke my heart that she was so young and then she didn't get to see me open this business, because God, imagine I could have done wigs for her and done everything else to help her out. But she taught me hard work. She was a housewife, but she was an amazing mom, like the best mom anyone can ask for. Like, she would make us breakfast, lunch, and dinner. She taught us how to work hard, respect each other, be able to succeed, never take anything from anyone and never ask for anything, just be able to do that. So to this day, I always look up in the sky and then I see my angel looking over me and telling me, you've done pretty good. You've done okay. And then, of course, some other people I just wanted to thank really quick, because without them, I wouldn't have had these opportunities. Mr. Scott and Mr. Brown, former owners of Budweiser, Troy Wyatt, worked with former owners of, Coors Light and Miller. They gave me a lot of opportunities in the promotion business. Willie Moya gave me opportunities to do promotions in a lot of different places. Medi with all the Grams brothers, and so much more. And of course, my family, the Karams, and, they opened so many different things, the Dows. Everyone I could call and I can say, I really need your help on something. And they were able to give me that push and that kind of advice. So I'm very thankful to have so many mentors in my life. I wouldn't be here without them.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. And I'm sorry to hear about your mom, and it's always tough, but she's definitely an angel looking down on you. And
Yes.
Ashley, I wanted to ask and turn it over to you to see, how do you balance it all? You have your family, you have your business. What do you do for your own self-care and to keep you balanced?
That's a good question. And I don't know that I'm totally successful at it, but I try to be done with work in the evening, and that's time that I get to spend with my little one, and time to spend with our family. It's our family time. But the business is very it's everywhere. It's in all parts of your life. So I feel like one of the good things that I did at the beginning is I spent a lot of time visualizing and meditating and praying, a lot of time journaling. There's less time for that as a mom of a 22-month-old. So, and exercise. As a therapist, I know the benefits of exercising, of moving your muscles. So when you have stress, you release cortisol, and cortisol is a hormone that's real hard for your body to get rid of. And the best thing to get rid of it, to move it out of your system, is cardiovascular exercise. So I have a treadmill. I used it a lot more than I'm able to now, but and my husband and I spent a lot of time at the gym at the beginning of the business. So a lot of strength training. So moving your muscles, and then just really spending some quiet time in prayer and doing some things like that. If I could take a bath, that would be really good too, but that doesn't always happen.
No, definitely. You have your plate full with your baby, 22 months, right? Very active. And so, Laura, even though you have your own spa, what do you do to balance it all and to relax and everything like that? What do you do?
People think that I'm like getting a massage every other day. I wish, a lot of times I even book a massage and a customer comes in and I'm like, okay, go ahead, take my appointment. It's fine, but it's very hard for me to relax. And for years, I had an issue with that, to where I'm working 16-hour days. I don't go to sleep till 3 o'clock in the morning, having to wake up early. I do work out 4 days a week. But mentally, I needed to make a change. And throughout COVID, it really taught me, like, I would go on vacation and I was calling work every single day. And that is not good. And it was horrible for my personal life. It was personal for my marriage, because I didn't pay attention to a lot of stuff, because my biggest goal was, I want to be successful. What am I missing? I was taking notes in bed. I was doing all kinds of stuff. So I had to take a step back and say, you know, family, you're not going to have your family for the rest of, you know, for a long time. Sometimes you're going to lose them and you never know. Work hopefully is always going to be there. So I had to literally take a step back and say, let me go ahead and balance my life. And that's what I try to do. I would go into yoga, and when it came to the sleeping part, you know, you had to lay down and don't move. I literally walked out of yoga class. And finally, the yoga teacher came to me and said, you have to make a change, or you're going to end up, you know, getting really sick. Stress is a number one factor for women, to where, you know, it's going to hurt you in some ways. So what is it? What's all this? You know, you're going to have all this work, and then all of a sudden you're going to pass on, and what's going to happen? You know, people move on, and that's what's going to happen. So I did take a step back, and I said to myself, I've got to love me first and foremost. And I need to start thinking of meditation and doing some more yoga stuff. And really mentally, you have to have the strength, because you physically you can be very strong, but mentally you can be very weak, and that's going to hurt you in the long run. So that's what I needed to do, and that's what I've been doing. So hopefully it's going to work.
Awesome. Thank you. And you made the change, Laura. So that's always very important, right? So
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you to our two entrepreneurs for sharing their entrepreneurial journey with our viewers today. And at this time, I would like to turn it over to Ashley so she could go ahead and share with us a little bit more about occupational therapy and child development tips to share with our parent viewers. So I'll turn it over to you, Ashley.
Thank you. Anytime I get to talk to a group, I love to start with what is occupational therapy, because you may not know, and that's okay. And that's why I like to talk about it. So I have a little information I can give here for that. So I'm going to share just with my PowerPoint, just a few slides, if I can. So what is occupational therapy? So the name implies occupations, and this means what occupies your time. So what do you have to do every day? So, and as an adult, we take care of other people, we work jobs, we use computers, we drive cars, we take care of our bodies. So these are occupations. The occupation for childhood is going to be different though. Kids have different responsibilities than adults do. So what do you think the primary occupation of childhood is? And the answer is play. Children are supposed to play. If you've ever been around kids, you know that one of the questions they ask all the time is, can I go play now? Can I be done with this? And can I go play now? And we as the adult and as the therapist, the answer needs to be yes, you can go play, because it builds skills naturally. It strengthens muscles. It develops social skills and emotional skills. You learn how to interact with other people and how to take care of yourself. Another occupation of childhood is what's called ADLs, or activities of daily living, which is things like feeding, using the toilet, getting dressed, taking care of your hair and skin. And then the last thing I would say for childhood is their academics. They go to school 8 hours a day, so they need to learn. And they need to be able to participate in a school setting. So that's the premise of occupational therapy, and that's where I like to start. Because you may not know, I think you inherently know what speech therapy does because it's in the name. It's about talking. If you don't talk, you should go to speech therapy. If you don't walk, you should go to physical therapy. And so where's the in-between? And that's where we fall in. So as an occupational therapist, my job is to figure out why you are not able to complete your occupation. So if you aren't playing, let's say like maybe a typical child would, and we use that terminology of typical versus atypical or something like that. We want to say typical. So let's say, for example, a child has autism and they have a very repetitive style of play. So they're just stacking blocks, or they're lining up toys, or they're really obsessed with a certain toy. So what's happening at that point is they are not building skills in other areas. And so then we might start to see weakness in their hands and arms. We might start to see social interruptions because they're not building the play skills that other children are at that same age. So it's my job to come in and do an analysis and figure out where is the breakdown happening. And then it's my job to make goals to help them reach the goal. And I use standardized testing, which is norm-based, which means it looks at children of the same age and what they should be doing developmentally. And that's where I'm going to help them reach, is to do that. And the thing about that, though, is I am very aware of what's important to the family. And that's what we're going to work on. So if a family comes in and they say, you know, this child is an extremely picky eater, they only eat 5 foods, but we don't really care about that. We want to work on handwriting, that's what's important to me. But if the food aversions is interrupting family life, then I want to work on it as well. So that's kind of the basis of how I approach occupational therapy in pediatrics. So how can OT help? It's really varied, and it's dependent on the person who's coming in front of me. So I do an evaluation. It usually takes me an hour. And I know specifically for this presentation, we're talking about virtual learning and child development, because that's where the pandemic has kind of landed everybody, right? Nobody can go to school right now. And so everybody is stuck at home doing virtual learning. Not everybody is really well suited to virtual learning. That's a specific learning style. And so OT, we can kind of come in and help with that. And one of the areas that I wanted to talk about was routines and schedules, and how this can really impact and make the virtual learning a lot easier for families. So within my field, there are kind of 3 main concepts that I look at. Can I change the person? Can I change the task? Or can I change the environment? So for virtual learning, if this is the task that everybody is kind of struggling with, so this is the one I'll address. We can't change virtual learning. We can't go back to school right now. The pandemic has made it such that it isn't safe. So this is the task we have to do. Can I change the person? Well, no, if you're 8 years old, virtual learning, sitting in front of the computer, is going to be a really challenging task for you. There's nothing I can do to change your age or your maturity level or your brain maturity level. So we can't really change that. So that leaves environment. And this is where I can kind of come in and tell you some little simple changes we can make. And this is a strength of occupational therapy. We look at what is around and we want to make small tweaks so that you're able to implement it and follow it, because then we'll have a better result. So we can change the environment then. So a lot of, I don't know if you have seen on Facebook, or different social media, parents posting pictures of their classrooms that they've set up in the house. And it looks beautiful. But it looks, from my OT eye, it looks crazy to me. There's all kinds of things on the walls. There's toys, there's crayons, there's papers. It's a lot of visual information that this child has to compete with, on top of having to learn and do whatever they need for school. So that's my first tip. Pare down the area that you are setting up for learning. Have a designated area that is for learning. It's not for playing, it's not for eating, it's not for watching TV. This is learning area, because when you walk into that space, there's that shift in your brain that says, okay, now it's learning time. So try to put extra materials away and try to keep things really organized and neat and simple. So that may not mean it's the prettiest, but it's going to be really functional, and that's the key. So have a little basket or a box or someplace where you can have the designated materials they are going to use every single day. pencils, markers, crayons, paper, whatever their school supplies are, and put other things away. Turn off TVs, silence phones. If there's a window nearby, be aware if there's noise coming in from that. If there's other children around, try to give them some space so that we can minimize distractions. The other one of the functions of OT that we really look at is the 90-90-90 rule. So that means positioning. If you are seated correctly, if your skeleton is in a correct alignment, your muscles are going to work more efficiently. So that means we want hips at 90 degrees, knees at 90 degrees, and ankles at 90 degrees with support under feet. So children are small. If you put children in an adult-sized chair, their legs are going to dangle. And then what do children do when their legs dangle? They swing them, do, 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 do. And then that can get more and more alerting and more fun, much more fun than whatever teacher is saying. So if you need to put a step stool or something under their feet to give them a sense of grounding, that may help with focus and attention as well. And put them in a chair and a table that fits them. This is something when I'm at work, I walk around the clinic and I see kids sitting at great big tables or whatever. I want to correct that all the time. Put them in a position that is appropriate for their size. The same is true at dinner time. If you have a little one, they may not be ready for adult size chair. They maybe still need to be in the high chair, and that may produce a better result. Light can make a big difference too. So they're getting all of this blue light in from the computer, and that does something to your brain. So you could, if you're noticing sleep issues, you may try giving them more breaks during the day. I know with the schooling, they allow synchronous and asynchronous approaches. If you are noticing a lot of issues with your child focusing and paying attention, you may talk to the school and ask them if you can move them to an asynchronous format, which means that they could complete it as you have time and not in real time with the teacher. So this would allow you to put in more break time and give them more chances to move their little bodies, because that may produce a better result. It's not important to sit for 8 hours. Children's attention span is double their age. So if you have an 8-year-old, you can only reasonably expect 16 minutes of attention. So we have to give them breaks. And if you're noticing that they're saying, Mommy, I need to go potty, Mommy, I need a snack, Mommy, I need water, they're giving you the cue, I need to move. So let them move. There's yoga online, there's all kinds of activities, jump on the trampoline, go for a walk, but let them have that movement activity. The other thing is try to give them time to play and take it easy during this virtual learning time. Everybody's in the same situation. Nobody is gonna have excelled in the 3rd grade and your child is gonna be left behind. No, everybody's in the same situation. So just take a breath, take a step back, and realize when everybody goes back to school, there's gonna be a measure of remediation that's gonna happen, because everybody was exposed to this. Everybody was delayed a little bit. And let's think about their academic career all the way through 12th grade. So we have a lot of time to make up those concepts and those facts. Learning doesn't just happen with pencil and paper. You can learn math through baking cookies with mom. You can learn math through lots of different opportunities to learn. So think about their whole life, not just the schooling opportunity, and what you can contribute as their parent. This is a time that we're not going to get back. Like Laura said before, you're not always going to have little ones who are this age. So enjoy them now and take an opportunity to teach them, invest yourself in them. But if you are struggling, if you are really struggling and you feel like it's an inordinate amount of struggle, that there is tantrums, that you cannot get through the day, that they are really having too hard of a time, contact us. Give me a call. Come by the office. We are happy to do an evaluation and see how we can help, because it shouldn't be that hard. With some tips and tricks, we can make it easier, but if it's still too hard, then let us know. And if you have a special needs child, please reach out, because they do need more help than maybe what is available. And now is a great time for some therapy intervention when our schedules are a little bit more relaxed. So pay attention to your child. They give us cues all the time, even if they don't say the words. but there is an opportunity to intervene if you feel like you need it. And that's my job. My job is to figure out what is the help that they need. And I love working with kids. We love doing this. So just let us know and contact us if you need anything. We're happy to help.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley, for sharing your expertise with our viewers today. And I know there's some questions coming through the queue, but we're just going to go ahead and answer those at the very end. Okay. Okay, awesome. Right now, we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Ann Ogle, and she's going to present to our viewers about the importance of resilience and relationships during the periods of transition. So now I'll turn it over to Ann.
Good morning. The way I think I'm going to approach this is I took notes while Ashley and Laura were talking. And I want to start with play is my work, and I'll tell you a story. When my son was little, I let him go to my classes with me. And I remember one time when he was 3 years old, he's 28 now, 3 years old, I went to him and told him, it's time to clean your room. And he looked back at me and said, play is my work, mommy. And I said, playtime is playtime and work time is work time. And so one of the things that we talk about in resilience and working with children is also true for adults. We need to meet people where they are. We need to acknowledge what people's limitations are. And I think Ashley spoke to that. When a child is moving, it's time to let them move. It's time to let them play. But we also have to set reasonable expectations, particularly as the kids are in school. In the military, we spend a great deal of time in transition. And now everyone is in a time of transition. So the next note I made to myself based on Laura and Ashley's history is hunt the good stuff. Both of them shared how they took opportunities that presented themselves that were positive opportunities, and they turned them into good things, which helps us not to fall into thinking traps. Thinking traps can be difficult for children and for adults. It's the way our minds are taking a situation, and we can either turn it into a positive situation, hunt the good stuff, or we can get trapped into thinking that this is a catastrophe. And catastrophizing makes something challenging even more difficult. Dr. Wayne Dyer made the recommendation of thinking about your thoughts as a conveyor belt. And when a conveyor belt is running with all of these thoughts, and a thought comes to you that's challenging, you can decide to put that thought back on the conveyor belt and pick up another one. Now, one of the things that we know about the development of children, and Ashley spoke to, is we role model those ways of thinking. It's the words that we use with children that teach them who they are and how well they're going to handle this transition. We like to talk about I am statements. Anytime you use I am, you become that. And so when you use those words with children as well, they begin to believe it. I am good at school is different than you have to do this. And encouraging children, you are good at this, and I will give you a break. I saw someone ask about how to motivate. Motivation comes from the inside. And both Laura and Ashley talked about knowing yourself and knowing your mission. Well, the same is true for working with children. What motivates them comes from inside of them. So building that into every day is valuable. Another note that I made to myself while they were speaking was about we don't know what we don't know, and we can't read minds. So when we're facing a situation or our children are having a difficulty, reframing that is valuable. Ashley talked about changing the environment. Well, we can change our mental environment simply by changing our physical environment. And I agree with Ashley about not being in a busy environment helps you calm down. Well, the same is true with adults. We have to reduce the activity in the environment to reduce the activity inside of ourselves. Laura talked about never giving up and never turning back. And Ashley quoted the Bible, and I made myself that said, your talent will make a space for you. Your talent will find a way. Both Laura and Ashley are good examples of how the universe, God, or your talent are gonna find a way. So you have to remain faithful. The same is true of working with the children during this time of transition in this very difficult piece of virtual learning. But there's also opportunity in the virtual world. Laura spoke about how she began to feel lonely as we've continued through this pandemic. She didn't use the word, but many people have talked to me about becoming depressed. And I read an article about virtual babysitters for parents who need a break, that you get grandma or grandpa on Zoom to talk to the kids just long enough for you to take that bath, Ashley. But the virtual environment also offers us opportunities to reconnect with people, as Laura had mentioned. Another thing that Laura talked about was, I need your help. That's incredibly important in relationships and in transitions and in being resilient. Being willing to say, I need help is a strength. It's not a weakness. In fact, we tell people that the ability to cry is a strength unless it becomes an issue. And then, as Ashley pointed out, reach out for professional help if it's required. But don't let anxiety be something that frightens you. Anxiety can be a source of energy. It can be energy for kids, it can be energy for adults. If it becomes obsessive or excessive, then you want to reach out for some additional help. Another thing that I heard from Laura and Ashley was when they asked, how do you balance everything? And one thing that I mentioned to people is time is like money. It's all how you spend it. So putting together an idea of what you value and where you want to spend your time is like having a mental budget. You only have so much time and so much energy. So making a real decision about, this is where I want to invest my time and money and energy, is expending from your mental budget. And being willing to say no to things is an important way to balance life. So every time you're asked a question or faced with a task or confront a challenge, ask yourself if that's in your budget. And if it's not in your mental budget, say no. I wanted to talk about every moment in life not enjoyed is a moment lost forever. That's also important to your mental budget. I am going to look forward to some question and answer, but I wanted to close on this because I think it'll transition well to what Laura is about to talk about. And that is what we know about your body responses. Your body will tell you if there's a problem. Your body, all of you have a place in your body that is going to tell you when you've gone too far or you've had too much, even if you think you're okay. Some of us, that place is in our stomach. Some of us, that place is in our head. We get headaches. We become nauseous. All of the different systems will tell you if you've had too much. So it becomes really important to listen to your body. Now think about the children. The children's bodies will tell you when they've had too much. Their bodies will speak to them. Ashley talked about the swinging of the legs is them saying it's time to use energy. They'll complain about their eyes. She mentioned the 90-90-90. I'll mention 20-20-20, which is a vision. We recommend for adults, so imagine for children, if you've looked at a screen for 20 minutes, you need to look 20 feet for at least 20 seconds. So I myself make the mistake of getting so engaged in what I'm doing on the computer that I'll forget to look away from it. And eventually it will start to affect your eyes. The other thing is the messages that you use when you are facing transition, challenge, or an issue in a relationship. It's how you start the sentence to yourself. It is helpful to say, a better way of seeing this is. It is damaging when we say it's all them or it's all me, because there's balance in all of these things. And then they talked about having a plan. So you want to say to yourself, if X happens, then I have the choice to do Y. We don't have to be victims to this. We do have a lot of control that we may not see, but because we've turned it into a catastrophe, we drop the ball on whether or not we have control. We have little pieces of control, as Ashley talked about. The person, the environment, and the situation, or as she referred to, the task. When you can control those things, take control of something, because you can always take control of one or more pieces of that. If you fall into a catastrophe, whether it's with your child's education, the pandemic, relationship, or your own resilience, and you're beginning to think, this is terrible, this is awful, I can't handle it, ask yourself what the evidence is. There is likely evidence in your life that you can handle it, that you've handled something else before and it got better. Ask yourself how you could reframe it. How could you look at this in a different way? I was working with a child director who works with young children, and she was really, really struggling with a situation. So I asked her to go to the dollar store and buy a picture frame that was red. And when she bought that picture frame, I asked her to take the problem that she was dealing with and put it in the different frame. So we sat with it without the frame and we looked at it and we talked about it and we evaluated it. And then we put it in the frame and I said, now how does it look different? And we walked through that. So if you need a physical prop, go to the dollar store, buy a frame. If it's a relationship issue, put a picture of the person and put the frame over it and say, how does it look different? Because by simply looking at something differently, it will completely change the catastrophe. And then back to, as I said earlier, have a plan, have a contingency plan. Things are not always going to go the way you want them to. I myself have control issues. If it doesn't go the way I want it to, then everyone else in the world is misbehaving. And so I have to go back to those sentences I'm using. What is my evidence? How can I reframe this? Can I change the environment or the person? There are a couple of other things that we recommend other than hunt the good stuff, and that is things like gratitude visits. Simply looking at life and being grateful makes a difference. Dr. Martin Seligman at the Positive Psychology Center teaches about gratitude visits, and that's when you write a letter to a person that you haven't thanked, and then call them up and read it to them. Make a visit with gratitude, because hunting the good stuff and telling people what you're grateful for in and of itself will reframe the situation. And you can translate that back to working with the children in transition and in virtual school. What are you grateful for? What's good about this? What's fun? As opposed to continuing that focus on the negatives. So going back over what we've said in this moment, transitions are difficult and all of us are in it. We all have resilience. We can fall into traps with our thinking. But we have to remember that thinking is like a conveyor belt. You can choose to put that thought back and pick up a different one. One of the ways that you can do that is by using frames or reframing. Remember that we don't know what we don't know. And so we can't read other people's minds. We can only deal with what's there. We can allow anxiety or any emotion to serve as a source of energy, and then take that energy to do what Ashley recommended, and that is move your body, exercise, and be more healthy. Your body will tell you when you've gone too far. So ask yourself, what part of your body is the part that tells you enough is enough? And learn to listen to that. Watch your I am messages. Whatever you say that you am, you will be. And watch those same messages as you give them to children. What you tell them they will be, they will be. Say that I am good and ask for help when you need it. Mary Helen?
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you so much for everything that you shared. This is awesome. And so with this part of the presentation, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Laura, where she's going to share with our audience more about self-care tips to practice in the comfort of your own home. So Laura, go ahead and take it away.
I don't know if I can do as good of a job. Anne and Ashley, both of you ladies touched my heart. Y'all are impressive. I learned a lot that it's okay to cry because you made me cry. And it's okay to share. And I am a control freak too. And so I'm trying to learn not to be so much and be able to trust and delegate and work with everybody and teach, because I'm not going to be, I don't know how long I'll be on this earth, but I want to be able to make sure that I make a difference in someone's life at least. And so thank you, ladies, both. I don't have kids, but I know that Ashley, your job is extremely important to a lot of families, and thank you for sharing, both of you ladies. To me, I talk a lot about self-care, but also not just on the outside, on the inside, because I think it's so important throughout so many years, me learning about beauty is from within as well. It's not just on the outside, but a lot of times, a lot of people judge us on how we look on the outside, not how we feel on the inside. And I think it's definitely important for everyone, women and men, and especially women, because we like to dress up, and we like to color our hair, and we like to get facials and massages and have our nails done. And that makes us feel powerful. That makes us feel like we're women. That makes us feel confident, and confidence is key. I see so many people throughout the 24 years that I've been doing this. When they have confidence, they conquer the world. Either, if you're in school, you get better grades because you feel so good about yourself. If you set your mind on getting a job and you feel confident, you go in and you get that job. So with Laura's production is a little bit different than Foliage, but it kind of ties into it. Laura's production, we concentrate, on pageants and promotions, but also we have classes to where we concentrate on confidence, on poise, on posture, on etiquette, on also the way you should be dressed to impress to a job interview. How should you style your hair for certain job interviews? How should you style your hair for a certain event? How, what kind of makeup to put on? The correct outfit is very, very important depending on the event or depending on the job that you're applying for. So all of that is taken into perspective. And I also, not only do I work with groups of all ages, I definitely work with, one-on-ones as well. I do a lot of private sessions and private lessons to where I can really discuss a lot with women and men on what they feel they need to work on. And I've got to tell you, in the past several years, almost every young lady between the ages, I take them from 5 years old all the way until, and 50 years old. I have 60-year-olds working with us. And most of them tell me I lack confidence. I'm insecure about my body image. I'm insecure about how I feel. And I need that security to make me move forward. So I try to tell them, put a plan together, write down all your positive and negative, and how can you improve your negative and then perfect your positive. And that's what I work on a lot with a lot of people, and I see the change and I see the difference. I give them tips, because you can only give suggestions. People are going to do what they want to do, but at the end, you're just there to give suggestions to better them. With pageants, pageants for the past several years have taken a hit, because a lot of people have this image in their mind. If you are doing pageants, you're just a pretty girl. You're not as intelligent. You're not well spoken. Pageants, I've done pageants myself. I modeled myself. It opened so many doors for me. It doesn't matter if you decide to be a lawyer, a doctor, or, own a modeling agency, promotion company, or go into a beauty salon and spa. It taught me how to be very well spoken. It taught me eye contact. It taught me how never to sit down with my shoulders down, and my positioning of my body. If I look down on the floor, that means I lack a lot of confidence. It taught me how to write great proposals. It taught me how to fill out a resume, or to change a resume, or fill out an application. It taught me how to do so many different things, and that is what pageants. It's about discipline. It's about working out. It's about getting in better fitness. It doesn't matter what size you are. It doesn't matter how tall you are. It just teaches you a lot about nutrition as well. Eating the right foods, so you can concentrate on fighting diabetes, and concentrate on your brain, because a lot of times when you're food insecure, or you're not eating the right foods, you don't think clearly. So I think that's a lot of it on the inside as well, to be able to do it on the outside too. And I think that's perfecting it. With Foliage, when we were shut down, I had a lot of my customers and other young ladies and gentlemen that I've worked with, DM me or send me messages on Facebook. They're feeling kind of down. Their skin is not up to par. And, they just wanted to feel good about themselves. So what I did is I talked to my staff, and then we started mixing color formulas for them. And to where what we did is curbside. So they would send me pictures. They would tell me, like, just a touch up. It's not going to be highlights or anything like that. And then I really need to feel beautiful. I want to get rid of the gray. I want to be able to just have one color in okay, no problem. We gave them the formula. They drove up, they paid for it. We gave them instruction. They did it at home, and they were sending me pictures. So that was one. Another thing is, we told them, take a scrub. We mixed scrubs for them, salt scrubs. We told them, sit in your jacuzzi, in your bathtub, whatever you want to do, put that salt scrub all over your body. It gives you that very smooth skin feeling. And then just have a glass of wine, or, a glass of lemonade, and then just really meditate for about 15 minutes. And you can feel the difference on the outside, which is your skin. And then you can also feel it on the inside as well, because you got to relax for 15 minutes. The other thing a lot of people don't do, and I've noticed this a lot of people have never gotten a massage and have never gotten a facial. A lot of people are under the impression that massages are strictly luxury items, and same as facials. Actually, I am so stressed a lot of times. I get into my massage and I feel so much better, because it de-stresses me. It helps my muscle tone. If I'm working out and then I'm hurting in a certain area, I come in, I get a massage, I feel 10 times better. If you feel like you're about to get sick, or you're feeling a little bit run down, a massage literally will help you. It is something that your whole body feels good. A pedicure, when you get a pedicure, you're on your feet all day long almost sometimes, or you're sitting down, it moves your circulations. You feel all revived. Your whole body feels revived by getting a pedicure. A facial, depending on your skin tone, especially right now with the cold weathers, it's really, really important that you decide what skin tone you have. So the first thing I recommend is get a consultation. It doesn't matter where you get it. You can get it at our salon or anywhere else. Get a consultation, figure out what type of skin you have. Not only just your facial, your full body as well. And then target what you want to do. I always tell everyone, every morning, make sure you wash with a certain, and then exfoliate. And then you can go ahead and go with your SPF. Do not walk out of the house without SPF. I always recommend the whole face, the neck, the décolleté if it is summertime, of course, and then your hands as well. Always put on an SPF that's 15 and up. It really protects your skin and it gives you that feeling. Moisturize as well. And if you decide you don't want to wear any makeup, there's a lot of moisturizers that do have some kind of a tint just to give you that Put on a little bit mascara and then go ahead and go for the day. At nighttime, don't go to bed without removing your makeup. I always say to everyone, you have to make sure that you wash your face prior to going to bed. Always put on an eye cream. Always make sure that you, again, put on a night cream, because that's the best way to make sure that your skin is taking that break and it's kind of giving you that oomph as well for the next day. You know, there's a lot of different products that you need to take a look at and do your research. It is very important to make sure that you work with a lot of products that either they're vegan or they don't test on animals or environmentally friendly. I'll give you an example. The reason why I decided to stick with Aveda products is because now we're 100% vegan as of January 1st. Every single product we have, from skincare to body care to hair care, will be 100% vegan. So definitely no chemicals whatsoever. Everything is recyclable. Every single thing that you see in our salon, from boxes, gift boxes, to any of our products, we work with different companies, not only the US, but we work with certain companies in definitely food insecure and extremely low income families. We work with a lot of women to empower women, and we give them a very good salary to make sure that they make these items for us. And what we want to do to empower women to make sure that we can definitely recycle these items as well on a yearly basis. We also clean water across the world. Yes, I did say the world. Aveda is all over the world. And then there's so many issues with the water that we drink on a daily basis in the United States and in the world. So we ensure with our products that we do not throw them away. We educate people on being able to clean waters depending on wherever you are at, because 1 out of 8 children die because of contaminated waters, depending, you know, in the United States or outside the United States as well. So definitely educate yourself on whatever product that you decide to use, because a lot of them do have chemicals, and then make sure that you use the best product for your skincare. Also, concerning your hair, a lot of times we don't know how to style our own hair. So take some lessons. A lot of places offer lessons, how to apply your makeup, how to style your hair, to just be able, because I know a lot of families, you know, don't have that much time, either if you're working at home or if you're working in the office. Now, I've noticed a lot of people are working from home. They don't even get ready to get on their Zoom or to work from the office. I definitely believe when I was sitting at home every day, I got up every single morning. I made sure I brushed my hair. I made sure I styled my hair, straightened it, whatever I needed to do. And then I put on an outfit that made me feel like I can conquer the world, and then put on a little bit of makeup, and then sat there and pretty much contacted everybody, and then made sure that I contacted my employees. I sent a positive quote to them to make them feel good. You know what, here you go. There's some education classes you can take. This is what I want you to do. So it made me feel good, and I wanted them to feel good being at home as well. And I've noticed a lot of people started not doing that because they were like, I'm at home. I don't, you know, I'm looking at a screen. I don't care what I'm wearing. I don't feel good. And then because I saw it in myself at first, because depression, I know we didn't use that word, but yes, you can become extremely depressed because you feel very alone. That's one. And then second, you don't feel good about what's going on. You're hearing nothing but negative news. So many people are getting hit with COVID and everything else. And then you want to be able to make, you know, to feel, if every one of us did our part to feel good about ourselves, then I felt that it can just kind of, you know, take that negative away and then continue to be positive. So those are important things for me. Also, a lot of people make the mistakes is that a lot of women feel, well, I don't need to do this for myself. That this is not, I'm not saying to any women by any means that everybody has to color their hair and everybody has to put makeup on and everybody has to dress the part. That's not what I'm saying at all. Whatever your heart desires, that's what you should do. If it is that just to put mascara on and that makes you feel good, then do it. If you feel just a little bit lip gloss, then do it. If you feel that you're breaking out because you're wearing that mask all day long, then let's come up with a mask for you to go ahead and make sure that you do to take care of that acne that you're creating with wearing the mask all day. If you don't want to color your hair and you want to go straight gray, then do it. You need to do whatever makes you feel good about yourself. But a lot of times we forget about us. We take care of our kids, we take care of our significant others, we take care of our families, we hold everybody's problems on our shoulders, and we forgot to take care of us. I always tell everyone in both of my businesses, you have to love you before you can love someone else. And I had to learn that for years. I have to love myself. No matter what color skin, again, I have, no matter what my background is, no matter how I look like, if someone does not love me, that is their problem. I wanted to say, I love myself. And then if you learn to love me, then that's good. If you do not, then just, again, I'm going to say, move on and keep yourself surrounded with people that always want to put you on a pedestal, empower you to be better in your life, no matter what. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Laura. Some great advice. And now we'll go ahead and go to our question and answers from our audience today. And so for the first question, it asks Laura, how much money do I need to start my own spa?
If I told you, I know people walk into the salon spa and they were like, oh my God, how do I get to do all this? Like, how much did you spend on this? If I told you how much I spent on the salon, I think people would be in shock. $10,000.
Wow.
I had savings. I took my savings. I spent $10,000 and I started and I prayed. I prayed a lot. I said, God, give me the strength to do this because I don't know $10,000. But sometimes you can start a business with $5,000. With Laura's production, for a couple of years there, I was running it out of working at the mall. I didn't even have an office. And then people were like, where's your office? Oh, I can meet you here. I can meet you there. And I grew the business to thousands of models working from my home. Now,
Wow.
of course, I have an office that I've had the opportunity to open an office and then grow the salon. But I always tell people, you have to change your whole life. You've got to make sure, take a budget, whatever you think it is, do your research, do your marketing research, and then be able to start with that money. If you have a couple of $1,000s, this is how much it's going to cost. Put a marketing plan together, what you think it is. So you never know. Like, I know a lot of people have quite a bit of money and they can buy a franchise for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we all wish we can do that. But a lot of times that doesn't happen. I've heard so many great stories from a lot of women and men that have started their business with a few $1,000s. But also always remember, you have to be able to have a budget to live on for 6 months to a year. When you open a business, don't rely, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money and I'm going to live rich and I'm going to buy a brand new car and I'm going to do all this. No, you need to say to yourself, I have separate money to pay my personal bills. I'm going to reinvest. What I did is 3 years. I gave my goal 3 years. I reinvested in the business. I don't owe anything on the business. And every money that I made, I reinvested in the business and grew it and then started taking income. And that's what you got to do.
Okay, great. Thank you, Laura. And this next question is for Anne. Anne, our viewer says she's a military wife, but she has no children. Can you talk a little bit more about Child Youth Services program at Fort Bliss and what you do there or what that program is?
Okay, did I hear you correctly that she does not have children, but she wants to know more about CYS?
Yes, ma'am. And she's a military wife.
Okay. Child Youth Services falls under the umbrella of DFMWR, which is the Directorate of Family Morale, Welfare, and Recreation. We oversee all programs that touch children on the installation. So we run all the child development centers, we run the school age centers, we run the youth centers, we run all of the youth sports programs. We have the youth fitness center, and we run what are called SKIES, which is the knowledge and education, more like private lessons, dance lessons, cheerleading, that kind of stuff. During the pandemic, our sports and SKIES are not operating, and our open youth centers are not, but we are operating full-time for the young children and for children enrolled in school for military families that meet the priorities. So it starts with single and dual military, military working spouse, military education. And so we're here to support the children. Our mission in CYS is to allow the soldier to follow his mission or her mission without undue concern for the welfare of their families.
Okay, thank you, Anne. Thank you for sharing that. And Ashley, we have a question for you. Our viewer is asking, do all children need occupational therapy?
No. So I think the concepts behind occupational therapy can benefit a lot of children. I think I would have benefited from OT as a kid. And I think once you know more about OT, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that would be really helpful. But no, so we are a medical service, and I do work off of referrals from a doctor. So I can evaluate anybody in the whole world on my license, but I can only offer treatment if I've got a referral and a diagnosis from an MD or a nurse practitioner, because with TRICARE, nurse practitioners send them as well. So the answer is, I think the concepts, yes, but the actual therapy, no. And that would be up to a doctor's determination and my evaluation to say, yes, you qualify for therapy, or no, you don't. And we can always do recommendations though. So just because you don't need to come in for twice a week or 3 times a week therapy, I could still make a recommendation plan for you.
Great, thank you, Ashley. And I guess I would want to ask you the next question, and Anne, if you would like to share anything as well. The question is, my daughter loses direction. What can you recommend to motivate her? Also, do kids need blue light glasses? Do you recommend them?
So there's been a lot of talk about the blue blockers. I would say, let's look at the environment first, because there's probably things going on there are causing her to become distracted. So what I do a lot of is something called a sensory diet. And a sensory diet is not necessarily about food, but it can have food components in it. So just like you would not send your child to school hungry, because you would not expect them to function and to be able to think, you need to provide their brain with the sensory information that they're looking for. So she could be seeking something. She could need to move her muscles a little bit more, or she could need less. So that would be like a profile that I could run and find out maybe what's going on. She may be overstimulated, or the work may be too challenging. And so she's like just zoning out. Also, sometimes kids can have vision issues that don't really have to do with acuity. That could be making her eyes work really hard. And for children, that's fatiguing. And when children get fatigued, they shut down. So this is a very nuanced and a complex situation. But please don't think she's being willful, or she's just being naughty, or she doesn't want to pay attention. She's communicating something to you. Behavior is communication. And so I think if mom will just do some observations. Let's look at the situation. When is she losing focus? And then also kind of modify how long you're expecting her to be focused. So are you expecting her to be focused for an hour, or are you expecting her to be focused for 10 minutes? Because those are different. And how old is she? So there's a lot of different questions that we could get into with there. But sure, the blue blockers may be something that may be beneficial for her, but it's probably not going to be that simple of a fix.
Okay. Thank you. And would you like to share anything on that question?
I think I would just go back to one of the things that I said, and that is meet people where they're at. Mm-hmm. Not just meet children where they're at, but also meet adults where they're at. A lot of times we set ourselves up by meeting people where we expect them to be, as opposed to where they are. And in doing so, you set up failure for everyone. You set up failure for the adult or the child and for yourself. Um, People are not going to be where you expect them to be. They're going to be where they are. That's what Ashley does for a living. She meets people where they are. Um, and then, Laura talked about massage, and Ashley talked about movement. And I thought I'd share something that we do with adults and children. And that is, it almost turns into a massage, Laura, because of what you do. We sit with the person, whether they're a short child person or an adult, and we talk to them, we walk with them through flexing every muscle in their body. So we start at the toe and we say, flex that muscle in your toe. Now move to your foot. Now move to your ankle. Now flex the muscle in your calf. Now your thigh, then your buttocks, then your back, then your stomach. And by the time you get all the way to the body, you've tensed every muscle. And by tensing it, it also will relax. So it can help a child to calm. We can use that as a calming activity and a way to refocus. And for an adult, if you're really stressed out, it can help you to relax all the muscles in your body. So that would be another way. And then as far as the motivation, as I said earlier, motivation is individual. Some people are motivated by rewards, and some people are actually turned off by rewards. So it would be helpful to talk to the child in their own language about what is motivating to them. Ashley, would you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, that's called progressive muscle relaxation. It's a fantastic strategy. It can work in lots of different areas, and that's a sensory strategy. So you're giving the person's body the information. So what you're saying is your body starts here and the world begins here. And that is what we call neurologically organizing. And if you feel like that, you feel calm. If you feel calm, you feel ready to work. And so that's the key part, is we need to be ready to work. Just because it's 8 o'clock in the morning and school has started doesn't mean she's ready. We may need to take some steps to get her there. And the same is true for adults. We can have a cup of coffee. We can go for a run. We can make these choices for ourselves that children can't. So as the adult, you have to be the one to set them up for learning, like you said before, Anne, setting them up for success, not punishing them when they failed, but getting them ready, because that's our job, is to modify their environment. When babies are young, when they're born, we swaddle them. And we swaddle them because it simulates the womb. It gives them a contained, tight, close, nice, it's called physiological flexion. It gives them a nice kind of cozy feeling. We can simulate that same neurologically for children, and then they're ready to work. So that's how my therapy sessions usually always start, is what we call heavy work. So we do activities like that, like you just mentioned, the progressive muscle relaxation, stuff like that. And then we can get into handwriting. So yeah, I think there's some prep work that maybe needs to be done. If you have concerns though, definitely an evaluation is warranted. Yeah.
Awesome. The next viewer has a question, I believe, for Anne or anyone that would like to share their expertise. I've been working from home for 5 months already. How do I deal with anxiety? I'm here all day. I don't even know how to enjoy my free time at home. Help. Who would like to answer that?
It really depends on how you're experiencing anxiety. And just like with the children and what Ashley's talked about and Laura's talked about, routines are incredibly important. Laura, I was going to tell you, my grandmother told me when I was 16, always make sure you have on a nice pair of underwear. And I thought she was crazy. But now that I'm the age she was when she told me that, I understand what she meant. And so I would say, and it depends on your personality. I don't know who asked the question. What is making you anxious? You have to ask yourself that. What is the message that you're sending yourself that's causing you to feel stress? Address that. Get your routines in there. And if you're naturally a person that needs to be with people, find creative ways to be with people. one of the best ways to make yourself feel better, Laura did, and I talked about, that's help someone else. So as your energy goes up, direct that energy to helping someone else. And you'll see that you reframe just through that activity.
Awesome. Thank you, Anne. And Ashley, would you like to share anything, or Laura?
Probably she needs to move a little bit more. Like I was talking about before, you need to move your large muscles because it helps to process those stress hormones. When we have like that extra, what's called cortisol, it's released by some glands above your kidneys. When you have that in your body, it's kind of, it takes a while for your body to process, like I said, but it floats around and then your brain starts to associate meaning with that. So you have this kind of like fight or flight response. I'm going to have to protect myself. Your brain is going to want to associate a meaning with that. So it's that we receive it as anxiety. And so maybe she might need to do a little bit of what large muscle movements. It doesn't necessarily mean running or swimming. She could do this in a lot of different ways. Weight training or something may help. I know essential oils can be helpful for some people since we're at home and that may not be an option. But also the self-talk, looking about why, maybe to try to kind of find out where the anxiety thought is coming from. The progressive muscle relaxation that Anne mentioned would be a good strategy as well. But maybe this is a quiet time and sometimes we're not as busy as we have been before. And so that can kind of produce an anxiety response. So that there may be lots of reasons why. But I think also don't feel guilty because it's kind of an anxious world that we're in right now, and probably turn the news off.
Awesome.
Can I add to what Ashley just said?
Sure.
Keep in mind that your body doesn't know the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and a thought. So your actual physical body is going to have the same response to some of your thinking, my thinking, I do this to myself, as if there was a giant monster standing right in front of me. My body's going to have the exact same reaction. And that's kind of what Ashley's talking about. And so if you were in front of a saber-toothed tiger, you would run. So finding a way to get that physical movement, I completely agree with Ashley. But bearing in mind, and Laura, I know you're going to say this affects how we look. If we're in that constant state of, I have a fear of cameras, so I'm going to have to like either take some medication or go for a run after this because I've been on camera for an hour and a half.
Well, I think you look. I think you look great.
Yes.
Think you look great. You've done a great job for somebody that has a fear of cameras. You know, and I think back to the anxiety. I think I identify the problem. I think a lot of people don't identify why they're anxious, and I know that you kind of related back to that. But also, always have a solution. I always try to tell everyone there's a solution for every single problem. And if you cannot identify that solution, then ask someone to say, what can you recommend as a solution for whatever problem that I'm having? And then go from there. And a lot of people give up. And I think that has been the biggest problem, especially with this epidemic. I've seen so many people give up, just say, you know, I give up. And you know what? And I thought about it, and being honest, you know, I thought about, why am I even a business owner? You know, I can go get another job where I'm getting a check on a weekly basis and not having to worry. But then I look back, and giving back also is very important. I've got employees to worry about. I've got employees that live paycheck to paycheck, and I need to teach them how not to do that. I've got employees who are food insecure. I've got a lot of people that need my help. And if I give up on them, then you know what? God knows, you know what's going to happen. So I couldn't do that. And then I'm not even doing my El Paso duty, I guess, El Pasoans duty to this world or to the entrepreneur if I give up. So that's why you should always have a solution and figure out what you're anxious about and then deal with it. And that's what's going to make you a stronger person.
Awesome. Before we wrap it up, is there any one last final thought that you would like to share with our viewers today, Laura, before we go into our final announcements and our final two big giveaways?
Yeah, we have several giveaways actually.
I know.
You know what I tell people? The holidays are coming up. And I know for me, I feel extremely guilty about celebrating the holidays. I put up my Christmas trees, I decorate outside the house, but I know a lot of people, but I'm looking at the news and so many people have died. My uncle and my aunt, brother and sisters, both died of COVID within 2 weeks. Today actually is the viewing for one of my uncles, and I'm like, oh my god, should I be doing this? Should I be celebrating the holidays? But the holidays are not just about gifts, and they're not just about a Christmas tree. They're about it's God's birthday, it's Jesus's birthday, and it's about reaching out to family, reaching out to not-for-profit, making a difference and helping out and giving back. And that's what's going to make you feel good. And I think it's okay to go buy yourself something. So I say, if don't be afraid to say, I'm going to go buy myself something that is going to make me feel good. And that's what I think, it's okay to do that. Don't be afraid to live your life as well, and then, but also still make a difference, and then help somebody out. So I really think that's important. We all need to do this, and then be able to celebrate life.
Awesome. Ashley, any final thoughts that you would like to share with our viewers today in
I just
closing?
I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity. This has been an encouragement for me to go back and remember how this started and the opportunities and blessings that I've had to be a part of this. I remember going to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce to the information class about how you start a business and learning about what an LLC is all those years ago. And then to see where we're at today. When you contacted me, you said December 10th, we were going to do this, and it seems so far in the future. And last night I was thinking, that's kind of how it is. You are just working, and then you look up at where you're at. And so this was my opportunity to see how grateful I am for this, this position that I've been allowed to participate in, and to be in this field that I love so much. I love being an OT, and I love to talk about OT. So thank you for giving me a chance to share that with people, because it really can benefit a lot of families and can make things so much simpler and easier. So thank you for allowing me to participate, and Merry Christmas.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. And thank you so much for sharing that with our viewers today. And anything that you would like to share with our viewers?
I think I'd like to close with hunt the good stuff, because there's a lot of it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. With that, I would like to start with our giveaways. Laura, would you like to go ahead and take it away and see what we'll be giving next in the spirit of giving?
Before I do the giveaways, I do want to say thank you to the Hispanic Chamber. I'm a non-essential business. We've been threatened to be shut down so many different times. Without your help and your guidance for your whole team, and Cindy Ramos, I've got to tell you, we would not be open today. So I just wanted to take the time to say thank you so much for helping us non-essential businesses stay afloat. And, that care package you gave us the other day, I mean, anything helps. And then the guidance and, grants, opportunities that we can get. So thank you. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to be with these amazing young ladies here. And we've been able to talk about our business and then hopefully help someone make a difference. So we have a great gift certificate. Now, anyone can buy these too. We have gift cards that are good for a year. You can do any amount. Any amount come in, you get to enjoy a great service. And also you can curbside this whole thing. Definitely curbside. You can call us, tell us what you want to buy, or you can go online and purchase these. You don't even have to walk in. I know a lot of people are afraid of getting a service right now because of COVID. So these are good for 6 months. So I'm going to give away a 60-minute massage, a 60-minute facial, a sauna, and a jacuzzi. And the sauna is definitely perfect to de-stress, especially after the holidays. If you want to wait, a $200 value. Let's do it. Roll that wheel.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. What a nice treat for our lucky winner today. And Tanya, take it away.
Okay, ladies, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Let's see who's our second winner. Good luck to everyone.
Melissa Cabral. Please reach out to us.
Awesome.
Congratulations, you're in for a treat. And for our next giveaway, Laura, what do we have next for a lucky winner?
Oh my God, this is like lots of goodies. I don't know if you can see it. You have it on the screen.
Yes.
$270 actually worth of products. The staff put in more products. We have eyeshadows, skincare, shampoo and conditioner, travel. Like I said, all kinds of goodies. This is all Aveda products, 100% vegan. And let's see who's gonna win. Let's do it.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Let's see who's our third lucky winner.
Ooh,
Elizabeth.
Rendon. Congratulations.
All right.
Elizabeth. Awesome.
And then the last thing, we partner up with the Rio Grande Cancer Foundation. Very excited. You know, it's a great organization, works a lot with cancer. I know cancer has been forgotten throughout all this COVID. You know, definitely. So we wanted to give back, and special thanks to the Albertsons Foundation. They bought $20,000 worth of gift cards for $150 value. So they're going to give away 133 gift certificates valued at $150 you can use for services or products at Foliage. Please contact the Rio Grande Foundation. I believe the website is online, and it's also, you can find it on my Instagram or Facebook, and nominate a special someone in your life. That it could be anyone. It could be a doctor, it could be a healthcare provider, it could be a survivor, or just a friend that you feel has worked really hard throughout this as well, and you want to say thank you, or nominate yourself. You can also win too, and then send them, and then they're going to select 133 winners, and then you can come and enjoy our services or products at Foliage. So special thanks, because we want to make a difference too, for the Rio Grande Cancer Foundation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you for your special giveaways, and thank you to our panelists. And thank you to our audience and to my team here that has helped to make this a successful session that we've had today. I just wanted to take the time to make some quick announcements. Our upcoming webinars is next week, December 15th on Tuesday. For anyone that would like to know how to find the right CPA for your business, please reach out to us. It is a free session. We have Cindy Maestas Henry from Lauterbach and Barshow will be our presenter that day, so please reach out to us if you would like to join us. Our Hispanic Chamber has our membership posada, our year-end mercado, and that's going to be December 18th from 5 to 7. It is a virtual event, and if you're a business owner that would like to showcase your products and sell online, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to host you there. And for anyone that knows a business owner that is struggling, that has been impacted by COVID-19, please reach out to our El Paso Hispanic Chamber. We do have some grants available for businesses inside the city limits and possibly outside of the city limits. So please reach out to us. Thank you again, ladies, for a wonderful session. I wish all of you and our viewers a wonderful, happy holiday, and let's look